Caitanya Caritamrita, Adi-Lila. We are on chapter 1, text 45. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Jaya Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta. So text 45. Guru Krishna Rupahana Shastrera Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karena Bhakta Gane. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. The relationship of a disciple with his spiritual master is as good as his relationship with the Supreme Lord. A spiritual master always represents himself as the humblest servitor of the personality of Godhead, but the disciple must look upon him as the manifested representation of God. So, who is a true guru? A true guru is one who is situated on the platform that I am a humble servant of Krishna, and who can also teach us how to serve Krishna. And then, should we look on that spiritual master as a servant? No, we should give him the highest respect. We should respect him as much as we are seeing Krishna directly. Why? Because he's introducing us to Krishna. He's taking us out from this material birth and death. He's giving us a permanent solution, taking us back home. And he's empowered by Krishna to do so. He's coming in the parampara. So he has that authority. As we keep saying, we put that there is an embassy in a foreign country, Indian embassy, say in Taiwan. So the ambassador is being empowered by the president of India to give visa to people, to issue passports, whatever. So he's empowered by the president. The same way. So he's not Krishna. We cannot say, oh, my spiritual master is Krishna. No, there is a difference. He's a representative of Krishna. That is the correct way. So text 46. Acharya mam vijaniyan navamanyeta karhichit namartya buddhaya suyeta sarva deva mayo guruhu. One should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. So the spiritual master, he's not God. He's not God. We cannot say that my spiritual master is God. No, only God is God. Nobody else can become God. So what does Krishna say by this? This is a verse spoken from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.17.27, spoken by Lord Krishna when he was questioned by Uddhav regarding the 4 social and spiritual orders of society. So in the 11th canto, there is the Uddhav Gita, in the last instructions given by Krishna to Uddhav before he left the world. And then the Lord was specifically instructing how a brahmachari should behave under the care of a spiritual master. A spiritual master is not an enjoyer of facilities offered by his disciples. So it's not that somebody should say, oh, let me become a guru, so many people are going to serve me, you know. Then it'll be easy for me. I'll have people running around me. They'll do services for me. What do you want? What can I do for you? So that is not what a spiritual master is. He is like a parent. Without the attentive service of his parents, a child cannot grow to manhood. Similarly, without the care of the spiritual master, one cannot rise to the plane of transcendental service. So the spiritual master, he brings us to Krishna. He shows us Krishna. He's the transparent via medium, via who we associate with Krishna. The spiritual master is also called Acharya or transcendental professor of spiritual science. The Manu Samhita 2.140 explains the duties of an Acharya, describing that a bona fide spiritual master accepts charge of disciples, teaching them the Vedic knowledge with all its intricacies, and gives them their second birth. So Acharya means what? A person who teaches by example. That's the meaning of Acharya. And then what does he teach? What does he teach? He teaches the disciple how to be a disciple. How to follow perfectly the previous acharyas. That's how he teaches. That's what he teaches them. And then the second gives them their second birth. That means initiation. He gives them initiation. He teaches them what is all the Vedas about. So the ceremony performed to initiate a disciple into the study of spiritual science is called Upaniti, or the function that brings one nearer to the spiritual master. One who cannot be brought nearer to a spiritual master cannot have a sacred thread, and thus he is indicated to be a Shudra. The sacred thread on the body of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya is a symbol of initiation by the spiritual master. It is worth nothing if worn merely to boast of high parentage. So we see that many people say, oh yes, I've gotten my initiation, I've gotten my janyo, I've gotten the Brahman thread. But that is not the true meaning. That's not the true meaning of becoming initiated. The true meaning is that the bona fide spiritual master is accepting the disciple, and the disciple is accepting this bona fide spiritual master to study the science of Krishna, to study the science of self-realization. That is what it is all. The duty of the spiritual master is to initiate a disciple with a sacred thread ceremony, and after this samskar or purificatory process, the spiritual master actually begins to teach the disciple about the Vedas. A person born a Shudra is not barred from such spiritual initiation, provided he is approved by the spiritual master, who is duly authorized to award a disciple the right to be a Brahmana if he finds him perfectly qualified. So it means that it's not by birth that I'm born in a Brahmana family, so I automatically become a Brahmana. I'm born in a Shudra family, I automatically become a Shudra. No, it depends upon the qualities. Even if we are born in the body, in the family of a Shudra, we can become a Brahmana. We can. We saw Srila Prabhupada. He's given Brahman initiation, and his devotees are given Brahman initiation to so many people who are qualified to become Brahmanas. It should be that we have that we can do the functions, the duties of a Brahmana. It's not just a stamp, No. In the Vayu Puran, an Acharya is defined as one who knows the import of all the Vedic literatures, abides by their rules and regulations, and teaches his disciples to act in the same way. So just now we were saying that so many people are calling themselves Acharya. Now here's the Acharya's definition as in Vayu Purana. He should know, understand the meaning, the essence of all Vedic literatures. And then follow the do's and the don'ts. And then also teach the disciples to act in that way. And what is the import of all the Vedic literatures? Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Krishna, you're the Supreme Lord. And that is an Acharya. Only out of immense compassion does the personality of Godhead reveal himself as the spiritual master. Therefore, in the dealings of an Acharya, there are no activities but those of transcendental loving service to the Lord. He is the supreme personality of Servitor Godhead. It is worthwhile to take shelter of such a steady devotee who is called Ashraya Vigraha, or the manifestation or form of the Lord of whom one must take shelter. So Krishna empowers the spiritual master to teach us about Krishna. And that's why he's called the Ashraya Vigraha. We should take shelter of him and learn how to serve Krishna. That's what a guru does. He teaches us how we can serve Krishna, how we can please Krishna. If one poses himself as an acharya, but does not have an attitude of servitorship to the Lord, he must be considered an offender. And this offensive attitude disqualifies him from being an acharya. The bona fide spiritual master always engages in unalloyed devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's not just that we give ourselves a title or somebody else gives us a title. No, we should be qualified for that title. The title means something. Not everybody we call doctor. If I just say, okay, anyway, I can just call myself doctor. But does that really make me a doctor? No, but somebody who's really who's passed the examination of medical, and then the title of doctor is given to them because they are qualified for that position. Same, acharya also, somebody has to be qualified. And what is that qualification? Always engages in unalloyed devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is unalloyed? What is alloy? Alloy is a mixture. When many things are mixed up, especially metals and metals are mixed up, it's called alloy. And then unalloyed means there is no mixture, pure. So pure devotional service. There's no mixture, no desire of karma, gyan, or yoga. Just service to Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna. By this test, he is known to be a direct manifestation of the Lord and a genuine representative of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Such a spiritual master is known as Acharya Deva. Influenced by an envious temperament and dissatisfied because of an attitude of sense gratification, mundaners criticize a real Acharya. In fact, however, a bona fide Acharya is non-different from the personality of Godhead, and therefore to envy such an Acharya is to envy the personality of Godhead himself. This will produce an effect subversive of transcendental realization. So an Acharya, he's a representative of Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is an expansion of Balaramji. Balaramji is the original guru because he teaches us how to serve Krishna. So the spiritual master is an authorized representative of Nityananda Prabhu, of Balaramji, of Sri Krishna. And then there are some people who disregard the Acharya. First of all, the qualifications of the Acharya are there. We should understand who's truly an Acharya. Not everyone is an Acharya. Now, if we find that such a true Acharya, then we should not be envious of him. We should accept his position, hear from him, serve him, and that is going to be to our benefit, that we will understand the truth. Transcendental realization is to understand the truth. So, any comments or questions till now?
No.
No? So that's why it's so much detail is given, because we don't understand what is the qualification of a guru, and then we hear from anyone and everyone. And then we get confused, and then we confuse others. So we should be very clear who we should hear from about transcendental subject matters.
And I'm sure that we are not taught.
Yeah, we are not.
We are not. Nobody asked us to even read. So we have no knowledge.
That's right. That's right. Yes, it's true.
Because we were just asked to do the arti.
Yes.
Just to offer some water, do some diya every day. But we were never taught to read the Shastras.
Or to understand that you're offering the water, who you're offering to, who's God?
Yes, yes, not even that, yes.
Who is God after all? It's true. And this knowledge, that's what it's a great misfortune that this most important knowledge is not taught. We have so many, like Prabhupada would say, all the schools, universities, colleges, there's so many departments of knowledge. But the most important department of knowledge is lacking. We are teaching our kids more and more, but not teaching them the most important, that self-realization, God realization.
Yeah.
So then, okay, shall we try to read this or end here and continue tomorrow? What do you want to?
If you have time, we can finish this.
Okay. As mentioned previously, a disciple should always respect the spiritual master as a manifestation of Sri Krishna. But at the same time, one should always remember that a spiritual master is never authorized to imitate the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. There are some people who say, I'm the Guru, I'm Krishna, and then they imitate Krishna's pastimes. They will have Ras-Lila, come and dance with me. All that is rubbish, it's nonsense. It's not authorized. False spiritual masters pose themselves as identical with Sri Krishna in every respect to exploit the sentiments of the disciples. But such impersonalists can only mislead their disciples. For their ultimate aim is to become one with the Lord. This is against the principles of devotional cult. The real Vedic philosophy is Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, which establishes everything to be simultaneously one with and different from the personality of Godhead. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami confirms that this is the real position of a bona fide spiritual master and says that one should always think of the spiritual master in terms of his intimate relationship with Mukunda, Sri Krishna. That my spiritual master is not God. Only Krishna is God, but he is a representative of Krishna. The ambassador, the Indian ambassador in Taiwan is not the president of India, but he's been empowered by the president of India. He's representing the president of India here in Taiwan. So that's a difference. Yeah. One with and different. So Srila Jiva Goswami in his Bhakti Sandarbha 213 has clearly explained that a pure devotee's observation of the spiritual master and Lord Shiva as being one with the personality of Godhead exists in terms of their being very dear to the Lord, not identical with him in all respects. So Srila Jiva Goswami, one of the acharyas, he is saying that when Krishna says, or when the observation is made that the spiritual master and Lord Shiva are one with God, it doesn't mean that they have merged into the body of the God. No, not that. Nobody can become God. Nobody can ever become and merge in the body of the God. We all want to be God. That's why we are in the material world. And we have to give up this mentality. That's the whole purpose of this material creation. Each of us says, why can Krishna be God? We are all envious of him and we want to be in his position. So we are here. Now we have to give up that idea, that false idea. And that is self-realization, to understand our true self. So following in the footsteps of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami, later acharyas like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have confirmed the truths. In his prayers to the spiritual master, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms that all the revealed scriptures accept the spiritual master to be identical with the personality of Godhead, because he is very dear and confidential servant of the Lord. Yeah, so it's not that the Guru is God, is Krishna, not that Guru is God. No, he's a confidential servant. He's a pure devotee of the Lord. Gaudiya Vaishnavas therefore worship Srila Gurudev, the spiritual master, in the light of his being the servitor of the personality of Godhead. In all the ancient literatures of devotional service and in the more recent songs of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and other unalloyed Vaishnavas, the spiritual master is always considered either one of the confidential associates of Srimati Radharani or a manifested representation of Srila Nityananda Prabhu. So what is the position of a true guru, a true spiritual master who's coming in the parampara system? He's described, he's considered as a very, very dear associate of Srimati Radharani, somebody who's very close to Srimati Radharani, or a representation of Nityananda Prabhu, who's Balaramji himself. Is that okay?
Yes.
So we can stop here for today. Shri Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.